Great Blacks and Wax, the Reginald F. Lewis, the Douglas Myers. And that would be the circulator system. Now there's some talk currently about expanding that. It would be a very, very easy thing to loop North Avenue into one of those expansions. And then look at how really all three of us could benefit and profit from that. And the Legends and Legacies Past, you could just tell people they could catch a circulator and they could make all three of those museums. So sometimes the answers are right there, but you've got to together press on people to see that this is a business boom. The other thing is sometimes the hidden gems that we have that people aren't doing. My vision has always been, and I can see this happening outside of Dr. Martin's museum as well, we've got a dying cultural gem, the Arabers. And for them to be able to park their horse and wagon in the back of the museum here, right in that little passageway, or on the side on North Avenue, so people come out, and you're keeping that alive. People pay and go down to Charleston and ooh-ah over it, and we have it here, and their little sounds and calls are natural, but to let it die to me is really a shame. But we have to network, as you said, Lou, so that we all help one another, and then find ways to stretch our arms out to help all the other aspects of our culture, the local culture.
One of the things I want to mention, in case folks from out of town do not know, in Baltimore, our circulator is a free bus service, and it has a purple line, orange line, and green line. But heretofore, it's been restricted into which neighborhood it goes. And although it goes to Penn Station, it does not go another block and a half to North Avenue. Although it goes to John Hopkins Hospital, it does not go another 8 blocks to the Great Blacks and Wax Museum. So it's funded through grant monies and city government, and that's why in Baltimore government has a role to play, because sometimes government leaders decide where what goes based on their own parameters. And so when we look at the fact that if you want to come into Baltimore and go to what we call our Fabric 5 neighborhood, Fells Point, Federal Hill, Mount Vernon, you can go to these places free once you get to downtown Baltimore. So we have to advocate for a new circulator route that connects our 3 major African American institutions. Because once they get to the Great Blacks and Wax, all of North Avenue can feed off of that now. Because you have a lot of business owners all up and down the corridor. And you have the restaurateurs who now can begin to plan how to feed people when they come into our city. But if they're public, the tourists have a hard time moving around outside of the downtown area, that's a detriment to tourism growth and development. So one of the things out of this conference that I mentioned is to come up with a 5-year action plan, and then that action plan, one of the things we can implement is a new route that connects these 3 historic institutions. This Baltimore has already put together a path. And I think that's one of the door prizes. I forgot to mention that a door prize. And I think, I don't know how we found a way. Whose birthday is closest to the day? Michael Mitchell's birthday was today, but he left.
Mine Sunday.
Anybody before Sunday?
She got
Anybody before Sunday?
Nope.
Well, she's going to get the birthday gift with 4 packs. Okay, so we can move around quickly. So, folks, what we want to do is spend about 15 more minutes.
Can I say something that I think that we haven't mentioned here?
Yes,
and that's we're all.
What's your name and where you from?
Danny Kessler from Baltimore National Heritage Area.
Okay.
I would like to see, there are a lot of events that are actually happening at the Inner Harbor area that everybody calls tours, that actually people could participate in more often so that they can get more focus. So people can say, okay, because, for example, Quartet, which is now part of the Fells Point Fun Festival, brought in Great Blacks and Wax, and people love that. It's like, where is that? Where is that? It's like that little, but it's just being part of everything else and being like, hey, I've always been here, and this is what it's supposed to be. You're supposed to come and see us. You should go and see it. But it's actually coming to the mountain sometimes, if you want to call it that, so that the mountain trails can go back out again. And there's a lot more out there than you think there is.
Yes, presence and participation. That's excellent. Anyone else?
Just real quickly, guys. When I started out in tourism, it was very difficult because I didn't have a large marketing budget. I had no marketing budget. I was sending out these little blurbs to the New York Times and the advertising is in front of me, and over time, it's been knocked down by the reviews. Now, if I want to buy this, but advertising does a bit of review. What do we do now? We do reviews all the time, right? All of you that have co-institutions, you should have a TripAdvisor account. Yelp is kind of fishy because sometimes they play games with the reviews. But TripAdvisor, Yelp, and various others, that's where it's everything. People don't look at advertising anymore, they look at reviews. So when I got that first review on TripAdvisor, 2005, 5-star, I didn't really cover it. Now I've got 600 reviews on TripAdvisor, and that's what people look at.
So can I ask you a question on that point then? So if you shift through the traditional marketing dollars and the radio into the social media realm, and you find that you're investing more of your time and money into that?
No question about it. I spend a lot of time on Facebook, and the thing is that you can't just go that route unless you have content.
Correct.
Now, this bottle is just a container. Now, what's in this bottle? It could be some bathtub gin in here, or it could be water. You know, what if a spirit and something? I'm sorry about but the good content in here, and the good reviews come. If you put bad content in here, then that could be detrimental. Now you get bad reviews, and nobody's going to come. You got to get one, like you said, over time, one after another, one review after another review after another review after another review, especially on TripAdvisor. And before you know it, you got some people coming, regardless of how much they advertise. The other guy over there, he just wasted money in advertising for the most part. So I think everybody in here should have a TripAdvisor account. And at the same time, don't get a TripAdvisor account if you're going to put, you got bad content that'll kill you. One bad review could